So yeah, gonna make another one here. I say it every time. Hopefully keep this one shorter and get to the point a little bit. But yeah, of course this will come out the next day after the last one, but it's recorded just a few seconds in between. What I want to talk about here, a little bit more lighthearted than the last one. Last one, if anybody sees it, probably regret it a little bit, but whatever. Anyways, though, what I want to talk about in this one, moths and shot, but is where people assume that they know shit about you. Just kind of jump straight to the point. Again, if you didn't see the last one, I talked about had all my wife's family and shit over for my or for her birthday, and sorry the heating unit just kicked on, but everybody knows that I like metal music, and as I've mentioned the other ones, it's predominantly black metal that I like. Of course, no one even knows what that is. In the normies that we surround ourselves with. This instance, speaking about her family, and one of the family members was talking about learning guitar and stuff like that. I play a little, and I've got some shit, but I just stay out of these conversations because I'm just not trying to get into it because I'm not. And sometimes I'll get sucked into it because it is something that I enjoy talking about. I mostly play drums. That's my shit. I do have a drum kit, and I've been slowly in the process to building a recording studio, and so it is something I'm passionate about. And anyways, I just don't want to get into the because we've got a bass, and I mean we've got it all, right? Like that's what we like. We as in me and my wife. So the type of or the topic of the conversation was they was talking about different guitars and stuff like that. And I kind of got a little excited, and I have a bad habit of oversharing. That's kind of what this whole channel is, really. But I was talking with one of them. It's like, because they were asking about some stuff. Yeah, they just got this old shitter guitar, shitter amp, whatever, right? It's all just garbage, and that's fine. I mean, whatever. That's black metal stuff, right? Of course, they're definitely not trying to play that, but first to start off with them talking about, and I was droning in and out of it. I was trying not to pay attention, but they were kind of talking about how they were trying to play some songs, and it's like, yeah, I'm learning the White Stripes. Obviously, we know what the fucking song they're talking about, but it's like, are you really that much of a music fan or a fan of that song if you don't even know what it's called? You only know the band name and shit like that. Like, I don't listen to them. They fucking suck as far as I'm concerned, but you know, just hearing that just kind of cringes me. And this video's it's going to be super narcissistic, but again, I've spent a long time in my life listening to music and enjoying it. And I like a lot of other stuff too. Well, some other stuff, black metal mostly. I mean, at this point in my life, and have for about a decade, a little over actually, but about 12. Shit, I can't remember how old I am. 12? No, fuck, probably about 15 years. Anyways, so then they kept talking. I overheard them talking about how they made a song and it sounds like Coldplay. Well, how the fuck do you even know what Coldplay is? I know the name because you hear it because it's whatever, right? It's normie slop. Have I heard a song by them? Probably, like in Walmart or some fucking shit, but like, I could not name you a song. I'm not a fan. I don't want to know anything about them. I'm not trying to play, but it's like, these are people that claim to go to concerts and say that they like all this music and stuff like that. Um, I'd made a kind of a black metal like mixtape and stuff one time on a CDR years ago for my wife and stuff whenever we were just dating, like in high school, and she had it in like one of them old CD player boombox things, and this family member kind of taking it over after my wife and I moved out and was getting our own place and everything set up and stuff. And then there was that CD was in there, and they claimed that they liked it, but then they actually played it in front of the rest of the family, and then it's just like they're just sitting there like roasting on it. It's like it was that moment. This happened years ago. This was a moment in time. It's actually the majority of the songs are not. Some people say they're black metal. They're actually more, I guess, like funeral doom folk type. It's Uriel. Probably not pronounced that correctly. They're from Chile, I believe. I don't think they're still together. They dropped a couple albums, and I think it's like some EPs or some shit. It's more like acoustic guitar, like the real gutturals and stuff like that. But anywho, they don't even know what the fuck it is. They don't care. They're not interested in it. To them, it's just noise, whatever, right? Like, I get it. It's normie mindset. I'm not going to talk to normies about music. But kind of whenever it's thrown in your face a little bit, I guess you kind of got to, right? But, anyways, I got to where I was oversharing a little bit, and I was like, yeah, I'd like to at some point have like a, old 5150 like tube amp and stuff. And I was explaining the difference between like, tube amps and stuff, and how, sometimes you got to replace them, do this, yada, yada, yada. And, like guitar distortion pedals and stuff like that. Sometimes, like, I know the bosses have their own stuff, but you can get you a distortion pedal. A lot of times they just copy them from other companies, and you get like a cheaper one that's like the same fucking thing. I really wanted that black metal distortion pedal that came out, but it's only available for a little while, so I got the Soloist distortion pedal, which is exactly the fucking same as it, except it just does not look cool, but it's like cheap as fuck. And of course, I don't have a tube amp or anything. I'd like to get one at some point. But that distortion pedal really kind of helps get me to where, to me, it sounds better. And obviously, you can tell that they're just kind of, you can get the sense that they're just going, excuse me, along with what you're saying, but they're not soaking it up. And then they kind of start asking me about drums, and I was like, at the end of the day, just get whatever you can find. If you get a name brand, you're probably going to be good. It's like four-wheelers. Get you one of the big Kawasaki, Yamaha, Honda, Suzuki, you're probably going to be good. You know what I'm saying? Like, just don't get the Chinese, whatever, random brand ones, and you're probably fine, But that goes with everything. And I was like, I kind of feel like I was oversharing there a little bit, because it's not a conversation I want to get into, because I know where it's going to lead. And it's like, then they start talking to me about Metallica. It's like, I get that all the fucking time. Anytime I've ever, sounds weird, but came out about liking metal, just because people have pressed me to, because a lot of times, especially my old construction job and stuff, they'd be like, yeah, what kind of music you like, what kind of music you want to like? And I was like, man, put on anything, I don't care, whatever it is, I'll listen to anything. I mean, half the time they're listening to sports radio or pop country slop or whatever anyways, like, it doesn't matter. I've heard it all. I've heard all the dog shit. I don't even care. I'm just gonna roll down the window and smoke everybody out anyways. And they kept on and on. I was like, yeah, I like metal, just safe, and they're, it's like, yeah, you like Metallica? Yeah, I start hee-ho humming, but the actual answer is no, I do not at all. And I just hate it because that's kind of like the go-to thing that people think that I like, and then you start trying to talk to me about Metallica, and it's like, I don't want to talk about Metallica. I don't care. I don't like it. Um, you know, it's just, I don't think they're wonderful musicians compared to, you know, to so many other things out there. You know, I've heard I actually made one of my buddies mad one time. He just kept on and on about like how Jimi Hendrix best guitar player in the world. I'm like, dude, you can go on YouTube and look up like little kids fucking sweeping up and down a guitar and shit like that. Like, to me, that's way more impressive. I mean, things evolve, right? It's like, again, just using the car analogy, it's like, you know, my parents are older. Dad talks about the hot rod days and stuff like that. It's like, they were getting about the same horsepower as your fucking little 4-cylinder shitter does now. Like, shit just kind of evolves. Now, it's not getting into stuff about how older ones could be better because they hold up longer and you can work on them yourself type shit. But just as far as from a standpoint of that, of evolution, you know, it's kind of how it is. Like, I don't revere Metallica as like, but everybody comes at me with that type of energy. It's like, just assuming that I like something because I like this one thing, which is metal, so therefore you must like the one metal band that everybody knows. And this was a common misconception I'd made many years ago whenever I was still young and in school, is like, if somebody liked XYZ popular, you know, metalcore emo band at the time. First of all, I got to learn that a lot of the, like, Pierce the Veil, Sleep with Sirens type stuff, right? It's like, I just assumed that if they liked that, they would probably like fucking, you know, Marduk, right? Whatever. And I would be very wrong in assuming that, my little kid brain. They don't like Marduk, and they would not like Marduk. Case in point is, a lot of people, they grow out of all this because a lot of times it's just a different version of like popular culture, right? Talked about in the other video, it's like, you have countercultures, but they are, a lot of times, if you kind of peel back the first layer, it's about the fucking same as what is the kind of the going narrative. It's just a little bit different way to get to it per se, right? Like, whatever is on your pop radio station is not that fucking different than those bands I mentioned. And a lot of times people grew out of them. It's just a phase, right? Whatever. So that's case in point A. And then with the next point is like, you kind of talk to some older people and like, yeah, you know, I really like AC/DC, whatever, right, and stuff. And I do too. I like some of the old shit, right? But it's like, we talk about that and it's like, okay, I mean, you know, I really like black metal. I really fuck with like, well, I guess Venom coined the term and stuff like that. Like, that's easy listening, you know, comparatively to what's out there now, and I still put on Venom regularly. But you'd be surprised, the people that like AC/DC, and a lot of times they don't even fuck with Motorhead, you know. They're definitely not gonna like Venom, you know. So just assuming that you have a common connection with people because they like something that is within the rock-ish, metal-ish realm, just because they like Judas Priest, I mean they don't like Venom. Just because they, you know, or whatever, right? Because that's step 1 and 2, and that is not the case. And I learned that growing up, you know. So I just got to where I was really reclusive about that, because I don't want to have these conversations with normies. I don't want to, maybe that's what this whole channel is going to be about, is just rejection of normie mindset, normalities of everything across the board. I don't know. But before I go and finish up this video, I'm going to go roll another cigarette. I am out. It's a lot better. But yeah, and this doesn't have to be with music or media or anything like that. It could be something on a little bit more deeper level as well. But yeah, people's made step one, don't mean they're going to make it step two, and that's fine. A lot of times, when it comes to media, I totally get it. A lot of people just don't have the time, or their interests are elsewhere, to really fuck with uh, music or what have you. I know a lot of people that like cars and trucks and shit like that, kind of fix them up and do whatever to them. Or they're like, whatever, right? At the end of the day, I just need something to do work with, and that that keeps running. I ain't got to work on it a whole lot. I'm a normie in the car world, right? Yeah, there's some shit I like better than others, but it's whatever, right? I mean, one of these days I'll do a vehicle reveal. Y'all will laugh, but whatever. They're all paid off. Don't ever have a car payment. That's more normie retard shit. If you can keep from it. I mean, everybody's got an excuse. Sometimes, do whatever you gotta do. I get it, but probably shouldn't have said that, whatever. But yeah, so not to just come off the narcissistic, and honestly, I should probably re-record this, try to make it a little bit more structured and better, get the point across, because I do feel like it's an important thing. Also keep some of the bullshit down out of it, but whatever though, just gonna keep rolling. Yeah, so just because somebody likes heavy metal doesn't mean they're gonna like Metallica. Anime is another big one. Something I'm really into is like, I know plenty of people that's watched your base level entry anime, but you start talking about some of the other stuff, too weird, weeaboo shit, not gonna fuck with it. And that's fine. Again, maybe they don't have the time to dig deep and get into it. It's the way that people are sometimes, but their interest can be elsewhere. I think a lot of people don't really have interest though. They should go with trends or whatever's easily accessible. You know, don't really know what else to add to that. Just stay true to yourself. Don't overshare with people that's not really going to understand you anyways. A lot of times you're just wasting your breath, and if you're like me, you're wasting your energy. Because people aren't going to understand anyways. A lot of times walking away from these conversations, you're going to feel worse than whenever you go into them. Because I just kind of feel bad that people have certain preconceived notions about me. Maybe you feel the same. And me and my wife, we have genuine connections with one another on all this and stuff, and that's great and amazing. I mean, that's literally been my savior on everything. Her. But that being said, the other people that you have to deal with in your day-to-day life that just can't understand or can't even comprehend what you're into, it just kind of blows my mind. You think that people are into shit, but they're really not. Like, one last example while I'm kind of finishing this up before I head out of here is my wife's made a like a wind chime, for lack of a better term, out of bones and cord and stuff, and it's a witch's knot. Some symbolism and stuff, and protection, and it means something to us because again, we're spiritual people. We got it hanging outside, but with that being said, uh, somebody that we know, kind of came to her, is like, hey, I'd love for you to teach me how to do that. And they were calling it something else. I can't even remember what it was, but it wasn't calling it a witch's knot. And it wasn't calling it a wind chime either. They were calling it something completely different. I think they were referring to some Viking thing. And it's like, if you don't even know what something is, why do you want to do that? Obviously, my wife, kind of easily explained to him, like, hey, it's this and yada, 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 and, what it symbolizes, represents, and stuff like that. And even after an explanation, they still want to learn to do it, but they're putting no value in the, like, spiritual essence of these things. And to me, that's really weird. You can make something that's cool that has no meaning. Um, excuse me. Not everything has to have a deeper meaning, uh, or anything like that, but something that is kind of a protection, and symbolizing the things, um, for you in your home. I just heard something scurrying. Probably bunny rabbit shifting the gravels around, but a little weird. Hear weird shit all the time, though. I love it out here. But yeah, why even? You know, why even want to fuck with something like that? Uh, but that being said, sometimes these things, and it goes for everything, they can get you more into a specific thing. They can kind of lead you down the rabbit hole, um, to explore your spirituality. Metallica can lead you down to black metal, perhaps. Things of that nature. So it's not always bad, but again, I think a lot of people, they're so convoluted with, like, whatever normie slop trends or whatever that they're consuming, that they don't have the space or the brain power. Kind of like I was mentioning that deprogramming video that I talked about, is you kind of have to distance yourself from this and kind of wipe the slate clean. So you don't want to eat off a dirty plate. You want to eat off a clean plate. And then from there, you can put your food on it, build up, you know, get to, you can transcend whatever, right? I mean, I'm using these stupid analogies and fancy terms, but you know what I'm saying. You can kind of learn and get better at uh, whatever you're delving into. But if you have no interest in it at all, I think it's just weird if you're wanting to fuck with something like that. I guess one last example before I hop off here is we went to Viking Fest before. Again, spiritual people, very interested in paganism, spirituality, things like that. Now, while we don't necessarily follow the Viking Norse, I don't want to call it mythology. I feel like that's pretty derogatory towards it. Um, but just way of life and spirituality. per se. Norse spirituality, we'll call it. Um, a lot of motherfuckers are just kind of LARPing from the TV show. That's kind of weird. Uh, you feel this power and this calling and this surge within you to be like this, but then how can you kind of still represent, and you're delving into these things, you're figuring these things out, but you're just looking at it like it's cool, like it's superhero shit or TV stuff. It's excuse me. It's you're not even opening up and thinking about it. See several people that use crosses like Christian crosses to accessorize with, but then they claim that they are you know atheist or spiritual or anything like that. Or I even seen a video the other day, somebody basically just shit talking Christianity and stuff, and it's like, you're wearing a cross. And I went to the comments because this got to be rage bait. This is weird. And straight up defending it legitimately in the comments. I mean, I guess they were legit about defending it like that, but it's like, symbols have meaning. Uh, there's so many things around you that have meaning and purpose. Not everything you have to be dead serious about, but to acknowledge the presence of this and what it can represent, and how others may can perceive you for this. And you know it's a bit odd. I just have to admit, you know may have seen it in another video or two, but coyotes maybe. But anyways, typically wearing pentagram necklace inverted, uh, just to symbolize, me, I'm on, like, I hate even using terms, so I always just say spiritual because it's so broad. Um, and, kind of still learning, adapting, changing, doing stuff in life, in regards to it, but follow more of a Luciferian path and like a theistic Satanism and things like that. Uh, and have been, and just really resonate with it. I feel energy and positivity from, keeping something like this. And I have some other stuff too, that I usually wear, but uh, kind of symbolizes me where I'm at spiritually, my path, and, you know, things like that. But with that, you know, at one point in time, where we're at and stuff, you are raised Christian. It wouldn't even cross my mind to wear one at that point. It's like, you know, and if you're atheist, like, I get to a certain extent, because it's like you don't believe in anything having any like spirituality or basis or reasoning behind it. Everything's just kind of surface value. In that I can kind of get like the reasoning for it. But if you're Christian, why do you wear uh, pentagrams, or vice versa with anything? It's quite odd. Um, quite odd. Now, I know that we could probably delve into a little bit more, that, fuck, I don't want this to take a big turn because it's something I want to talk about later on whenever you got more people watching, because I feel like it is important. But um, just to mention it here before I close everything out, is like, you know, Jesus could have been Lucifer, vice versa, similarities, story drawn from Lucifer and what he represents, so many different, connections there. Um, and then you go into like Gnosticism and, kind of think about that. I mean, that's the thing, is it's like start getting into this shit, it's like a never ending, like, rabbit hole of knowledge to obtain. Uh, but most people, they're at step one in life, and that's where they're going to stay at. Cross 100% symbolizes Christianity. Pentagram 100% symbolizes Satanism, uh, or any of these other things, you know. Uh, that's about as deep as it goes. They don't think about the different things, you know. Hell, the invert, I think everybody at this point should know the different meanings of the inverted cross and its different uses throughout history and what it's represented and kind of the meaning behind it and the spirituality part of it. But I am, I don't get out in the world a whole lot. A lot of these things I'm kind of talking about is my inner thoughts I've had for a long time. But if I got out in the world more and was around different people of different things, I would say that I would be surprised all the time, with how I think my old call center job was a bit representative of that. I'm genuinely surprised a lot of the time, with the actions that people do and why they do them. But last thing to mention about this, though, you know, kind of the whole topic of the video, people assume they know you. Sometimes it's better just to let them. Don't even open up that can of worms, just for your own mental sanity. Uh, most time you guys aren't talking about the same shit. Uh, Spirituality is individual. Everybody has their own path. That's fucking acceptance at its core, man. Uh, no dogma. Everybody's different. You get to that mindset, so much shit opens up for you. It's crazy, you know. But a little more eclectic video, and as always, fucking longer than I mean it to be by twice as much, but it's what it is. Y'all take it easy, and it's gonna be my last one I'm gonna record tonight. Next time, I've got to get something cooler to fucking wear for these videos. I need to wear my real shit. I need to dress up for once. This here's just my feeding the dogs and the chickens and the donkey and stuff late at night. Throw on clothes and shit. But anyways, guys, take it easy.